October 1st, 2024. History has been made for paleontology. Hey guys, welcome back to the Prehistoric Life Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Crawford, and today, soon as I figured out what this was and what was going on, I dropped what I was doing and I ran back to set my stuff up to record. This October 1st, 2024, the field of biogenetics and paleontology have made groundbreaking accomplishment. The dire wolf, also known as, it's in here somewhere, Anonocandyrus, probably butchered that, have been brought back from extinction. So the company that did it, Colossal Bioscience, has named these two lovely, beautiful creatures Romulus and Remus, after, of course, the Roman, the people that found, the brothers that found Rome. Well, Romulus found Rome, Remus was killed. But they were raised by wolves, so just completely flabbergasted right now. So a species of wolf that died out some 12,500 years ago lives again as the world's first successful de-extincted animal. I'm going to start coining a phrase, de-extinctified. That's not already a thing. It is now. According to Dallas-based biotech company Colossal Bioscience, colossal scientists have created 3 direwolf pups by using ancient DNA cloning and gene editing technology to alter the genes of a gray wolf, the prehistoric direwolf's closest living relative. The company announced Monday the result is essentially a hybrid species similar in appearance to the extinct forerunner. The direwolf Anonocandyrus, which was the inspiration for the fearsome canine featured in the HBO TV series Game of Thrones, was a top predator that once roamed North America. HBO shares parent company Warner Bros. Discovery with CNN, blah, 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 blah there. Dire wolves were larger in size than gray wolves and have a slightly wider head, light, thick fur, and stronger jaws, the company said. Just look at these. Monitored and undisclosed 2,000-acre site. Yeah, they don't want people going there to mess with them. They said that, okay, so CNN here is saying that there's 3 of them. But everything I'm seeing is there's only 2. Colossal has been working towards rescuing the mammoth, dodo, and Tasmanian tiger since 2001, but the company had not previously publicized its own work on dire wolves. The massive milestone is the first of many coming examples demonstrating that our end-to-end de-extinction technology stack works, said Ben. Is his last name Lamb? I'm going to say Lamb. Colossal's co-founder and CEO. In a news release, our team took DNA from a 13,000-year-old tooth and a 72,000-year-old skull and made healthy direwolf puppies. The 3 direwolves are living in a 2,000-acre site that is at an undisclosed location enclosed by a 10-foot-tall, 3-meter-tall zoo-grade fencing, where they are monitored by security personnel, drones, and live camera feed. Colossal said the facility had been certified by the American Humane Society and registered under the U.S. Department of Agriculture. So again, I'm seeing 3 here. I'm seeing the number 3, but I am only seeing 2 everywhere. So direwolf fossils and ancient DNA. Using ancient DNA extracted from direwolf fossils, colossal scientists and collaborators said that they were able to assemble 2 high-quality Acronanus dirus genomes, or complete sets of genetic information. The team compared the genomes with those of living canids, such as wolves, jackals, and foxes, and identified the genetic variants for traits specifically to direwolves, such as white coats and longer, thicker fur. The company then used the information from the genetic analysis to alter gray wolves' cells, making 20 edits to the 14 genes before cloning the most promising cells, lines, and transferring them into the donor's eggs, according to the news release. Healthy developing embryos were then transferred to surrogates for interspecies gestation, which is the basic cloning process. That's how they did Dolly the sheep and all that, minus the gene altering. The 3 pregnancies that led to the births of the first de-extinctified species, Colossal revealed in its statement. The company did not immediately respond when asked what species of animal was used as a surrogate. Multiple media outlets have reported that the company used domestic dogs. 2 male direwolf pups were born on October 1st, 2024, while a female pup was born January 30th, 2025, according to Colossal Bioscience. Okay, so that's what they're probably going to have them breed a small little pack if they're doing that or something like that. I really don't know how they're going to do that. Considering, but they might be siblings. They might not technically be siblings, but they'll probably have some little. Look how cute they are. Look at the little puppies. Wait till they're older, and then they turn into giant murder hounds that will be able to tackle you and rip your face off. Which is insane. Gene editing and de-extinction. To achieve its goal, the company essentially created a hybrid genome using CRISP technology to cut away certain gray wolf gene variants and replace them with traits associated with direwolves, said Love Deline, of professor of evolutionary genomics based in the Center for Paleogenetics at Stockholm University, in an adverse to Colossal. There's no secret that across the genome, this is 99.9% gray wolf. There is going to be an argument in the scientific community regarding how many genes need to be changed to make a dire wolf. But this is really a philosophical question, Dallin said. Okay. Scientific community. This is my input on this topic. They brought back the dire wolf, and that's cool. They made a really cool animal, brought it into the spotlight. I personally am an advocate for bringing the dire wolf into the spotlight, period. This has done that. This will continue to do that. I am happy about that. This is something I am happy about. That ad just ruined all of that. Dallin Wood, who said he had a little bit involved in the analysis of the direwolf genomes, but had not personally met the direwolf pups or been involved in the gene editing or cloning process, said the work by the scientists was a huge leap from anything done in the field in the past. The way I see it, this is that they have resurrected the direwolf phenotype, the observable traits of a species, and we know from the genome that they probably look a bit like these puppies. To me, it's a direwolf, and that makes sense, he said. I agree with him. To me, it's a direwolf in that sense. Right there. Colossal has raised at least $435 million since Lamb, a series of entrepreneur and Harvard University genetic George Church, founded the company in September 2021. The first announced plans to resurrect a mammoth that endeavor has taken longer than Lamb initially projected, with the company saying it's on track to introduce the first woolly mammoth calves in 2028. The company hopes the same technology to create the direwolves to directly help engaging animals as well. Colossal said on Monday it has produced 2 litters of cloned red wolves. Red wolves are coming back too, the most critically endangered wolf species, using a new, less invasive approach to cloning development during the direwolf research. Many critics of de-extinctifying animals argue that the huge sums of money invested in the project could be better spent elsewhere. Well, those people, and here is what I will look at you. We have seen Jurassic Park. We can do it humanely. We know better because we have watched the movie, see how it will fail. If we do better than that and we treat them as animals and have proper regulation and keep them in proper environments, we will do better. I see nothing wrong with this as long as they don't let the direwolves loose into the wild to wreck an ecosystem. But if they keep them contained to, I don't know, set up some kind of ecosystem, or mammoths and elasmotherium, we can release these back into the Siberian snow fronts and make them habitable again. We can make them habitable for people. We can release them in Alaska and Canada, and the snow and the grass will be torn up, and they'll poo on the ground, and that will work as fertilizer and actually fertilize the soil and make it habitable. This could be a very good thing. Many and the raising and breeding the hybrid creatures could imperial living animals used as surrogates. However, Christopher Preston's professor of environmental philosophy at the University of Montana said Colossal appears to be paying attention to the animals' welfare issues. Nothing the size of the facility and support from the American Humane Society. Colossal have taken thoughtful precautions to screen against the unintended genetic consequences of their edits, eliminating risky edits known to be associated with poor outcomes, he added. But he said it's hard to imagine the dire wolves playing a role in an ecosystem. An outcome the company has said is the ultimate goal is an effort to create genetically engineered mammoths. In states like Montana, we are currently having trouble with keeping a healthy population of gray wolves on the land in the face of amped up political opposition, Preston said. It is hard to imagine dire wolves even being released and taking up an ecological role. So I think it is important to ask what role the new animals will serve. This is a fair point. We do not know what role they will. And as for right now, they seem more like a commodity than something that will serve an actual ecological purpose. And honestly, as it is right now, that is fine. Going off back to Jurassic Park, it is inhumane how those animals were kept because of the size of the pen, the size of them, and all this other stuff. But they can't make a bunch of dinosaurs and then release them into like the Amazon. That's not a realistic thing to happen, and that would actually be devastating to the ecosystem. So I think in this case, where they have these 2 dire wolves, Romulus, Remus, and then whatever the third one will be named, we will figure that out. You can also go watch them on YouTube if I'm growing, if I'm have that right. I don't know why that was so difficult to say there. But Romulus and Remus and their sister are they will serve as commodities for now. If, as I said with the mammoth and the elasmotherium, my favorite, the coelodonta, because I have 2 scaled skulls of them, they will serve as a way to possibly make places like Canada and Alaska and even the Russian Siberian steppe more habitable for humans, like a place where we could actually build a home, and they will move through and build farmland and things like that because they will fertilize the ground, they'll eat it, and all this other stuff. That is a possibility for them. That is a possible use for them. They will need predators. Things like direwolves and Smilodon will need to be brought back. Granted, I think that we should do this precautiously and not make a giant death zoo. But that is also inevitably what will happen. One day when they have their mammoths and whatever, they'll probably disclose the location because they'll need funding or whatever. Who knows? But for right now, they are being kept humanely. They are a de-extinctified species. I personally find them very, very beautiful. They're very beautiful creatures. I would love to go see them if I ever got the opportunity to. And I personally love direwolf. Direwolf, I feel, is heavily underrated and can be they're just beautiful creatures, but they're being kept humanely. As it was said, they use their resources to also make red wolves, which are endangered. They created a litter of red wolves. They can also do that with endangered species to keep those from going extinct. I mean, if they perfect this technology to bring back something like a dire wolf, which has been extinct for longer than, well, I won't say longer than humans have existed because that's not necessarily true. But, I mean, 12 to 13,000 years. They have been dead for 12 to 13,000 years. The human mind cannot even perceive that amount of time properly because there's nothing that we can properly compare that to. So, "30 centuries, or about 3,000 years, was when ancient Egypt was." So they were about 5 times older than ancient Egypt. Their ancestry is 5,000 times, or not 5,000, it's 5 times greater than the distance between us and ancient Egypt. Because ancient Egypt was about 3,000 years ago, give or take. If I read that right, I think so. Yes, 3,000 years. Roughly 30 centuries or about 3,000 years. That's how far back they've been extinct. They can bring those back. They can bring back a living species like the gray wolf, like the red wolf, like foxes, gray foxes. There's only about 3,000 of those left in the world, if I'm not mistaken. So I personally, I love these animals. They are beautiful animals. They are phenomenally beautiful animals. Their white coat. I honestly am excited to see where they go from this. Romulus and Remus are the forefront charge into bringing back extinct animals, to de-extinctifying animals. And I'm happy to be in the world while they're doing this, to be able to report on this. And please, in the comment section below, if you know more about this, please share. I would love to do a follow-up on this. October 1st, 2024. Not even a full year ago at the time of recording this. History has been made with biogenetics and paleontology. Romulus and Remus are at the forefront of this charge. Two brothers. We will see where their empire goes. And that is all I will say on this for right now. But in other news, well, a quick word from our sponsor first. Huge shout out to today's sponsor, Dinosaur Trips. If you enjoy these majestic creatures I talk about here on the podcast and would like to go see them for yourself, I would heavily recommend Dinosaur Trips. Dinosaur Trips is a company created to give people a behind-the-scenes in-look on museums and dig sites, along with just having an amazing time looking at these amazing, fabulous, majestic creatures. So if you sound interested, go to www.dinosaurtrips.com and tell them Prehistoric Life sent you and get $250 off your tickets. Now, back to the show. And in other news of marking your calendar, mark your calendar for July 18th and 19th, 2025, where Prehistoric Live, a online 2-day event, 3-ish, 4-ish hours, those 2 days, we will have speakers come in and talk about what they do, talk about paleontology. It is only $5. Here are our sponsors from them. There's a few more like Dinosaur Trips. They will come in and talk about paleontology and what they do and specific things. So mark your calendars for that. Other than that, meteor strike that subscribe button and the like button. And remember, go follow me on Instagram for additional content at Prehistoric Life Podcast. And if you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify, meteor strike that like button. I'm your host, Eric Crawford, signing off. This has been Prehistoric Life Podcast, and I'll see you all next time, which should be the season 3 review for Chaos Theory. Just a little delayed on that. But I'm your host, Eric Crawford, signing off. This has been Prehistoric Life Podcast, and remember, keep it prehistoric. Goodbye.